Well, you join me today on an endurance ride. I'm going uphill currently, and no cooling effect. I am feeling the blazing sun beating down on me. This is what the weather's always like in Wales, if you didn't know. No clouds in the sky, 30 degrees, classic Welsh weather. But this is amazing prep for when I head to France next week, and we have the final week countdown for the Étape du Tour. Today and tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, I'm rounding off this penultimate week of training with some endurance and, sadly, a little bit of heat training as well. Not just out here, but when I get home, as you've no doubt seen, in my sauna. I mean, shed, well, pain cave. It's pretty much a sauna. I'm not lying, one day this week it was like 40 degrees according to my thermometer in there, which is about right because it's usually about 6 or 7 degrees warmer than what it is outside. Today it's 30 degrees at like 10 a.m. and that's because last night it was still 30 degrees by 7 p.m, which is absolutely balmy. Oh, look at this view of you. Wow. It's been a while since I've ridden up this way. I forget how nice it is. This week the heat has been actually a bit of an issue in terms of training. It's almost been too hot to do, some super hard intervals, but I've tried to make the best of it, and I've done quite a few days, 3 days, where I did some pretty big interval sessions.
So the taper that I've been doing this past week, which is the penultimate week of course, has been inspired in part by a research paper I discovered about a month or two ago. And it talks about like a high intensity training kind of shock microcycle. Bunch of interval sessions stacked like 3 days on the trot, and then like a rest day and then another one. But essentially it's just doing like a really dense period of hard intensity work. Now this is obviously compared to like just doing like a regular training week, perhaps, where you just do 2 interval sessions and the rest of the time you just, supplement it with endurance. So I was curious to try it because I usually adapt quite well to a really dense period of hard work. Now, I guess the question is, why would you do something like this? And I suppose the answer is somewhere along the lines of like the supercompensation effect of, this concentrated stimulus of work that you'll do in a short space of time, but then you go into a pretty serious recovery week in the week leading up to your event.
So I'm going to follow it exactly to the letter, but I've kind of interpreted it my own way and done a couple of sessions, only around 90 minutes to 2 hours, plus then about an hour in the sauna in the evening. I felt like I was squeezing that sponge a little bit, and it's difficult to explain unless you've been through it yourself, but I did start to feel like I had an extra gear. But what he also said in this research was in the week of the event they really tapered down, like hardly any intensity, and basically just 90-minute 2-hour rides. So that kind of got me thinking that next week while I travel down to France and obviously get the travel out of my system, that's something that I probably can implement, because the travel is going to take it out of me, and I need to prioritize recovering from the travel. And then I need to do probably one session where I just turn my legs over. But what it probably will be is a near max effort for a prolonged period of time, 30 minutes to an hour, which, again, it won't take a whole lot out of me, but it'll do me a world of good in terms of getting my system back up and running again. But I'll have to do it far out enough from Sunday, the day of the Étape, that obviously I don't carry that into the weekend.
So I was curious to try it, and although in an ideal world a training plan looks great on paper, in reality it was far from that. I had to adapt it because things were happening. I was getting deliveries, I had to wait in, I couldn't go out and train at the times I wanted to. These are excuses, but actually, I had to just try and adapt the plan to suit me. And to be honest, I think I did a pretty good job of it. On Tuesday, I actually sandwiched a chain gang group ride, a fast group ride alongside some of these intervals. So the standards were like 45-15s, there were 60-60s, and then there was like steady state intervals. So the steady state intervals I like to do when I'm the most fatigued. So I chose to do that on the last day of the 3-day block. I was feeling so good, I decided to bin the 5x8 and just do like full 25-minute blocks instead, with just 5 minutes of recovery. I felt incredible. It was a really good session. And that was the 3rd day. Then the 2nd day, I did a mix of 60-60s and 45-15s, using a local climb that you may have seen me use last week. It's a like 2K climb at 10%, so it takes me about 8 minutes. So I throw a couple of sets in there. And then like I said, on the Tuesday, I did the chain gang with a couple of intervals either side of it.
So this past week, I've been really focused on just getting everything dialed in. So the bike will be sorted early this week when I take it to my mechanic and we just give it a bit of a once over. Been riding my race setup today, so at least I've done some testing. But this week I've been keeping track of my nutrition. I've been looking at my protein intake specifically, just ticking boxes, making sure that I give myself the best chance of being in good, hopefully healthy and high performance shape when it comes to the day. I'm already sweating already. I've just stood here. So I have to say, I really think the heat sessions have made a difference. Now, I can stand here and say that, but we haven't actually done the event yet. So I'll have to actually reserve judgment on it.
Mentally just getting on and doing them is hard enough, I find, but like the whole idea of tolerance and really stretching yourself out and to do longer and longer on the turbo is really the most difficult part. Describing it though, like I feel like, you know, it's very, very uncomfortable. Like you get to a point where, you know, your feet are hot, you know, your socks are saturated from sweat, and, you know, you're just constantly in this battle of like, I just want to get off. I just want to get off. And it's all in the realm of like, you know, you want to be safe. You don't want to push it too much. You know when it's time to call it. And I'm very conscious of the fact that I would rather do 30 to 40 minute blocks of it every day, which I've read as well that you can certainly do like heat training blocks, like people do altitude camps. You can do heat training blocks. So I was all in on doing shorter 30, 45 minute, maybe a couple of 1 hour sessions of heat training, but I would do them almost every day. And over the last 2 weeks, I think I've only missed a couple of days, and that's fine because I've still got in probably between 8 and 12 heat training sessions over the last 3 weeks.
But, you know, I've given it a good stab. I probably haven't done, you know, the full protocol, and I'm using the core sensor that a lot of people rave about. But I have been consistent with it. I'm more consistent than I've been before, coupled with the fact that we've had freakishly hot weather here in the UK. So I feel like my build up to the Adapter this year, and I've never done the event before, but certainly any event that I've done in Europe of this kind of scale, I've never prepared as well as I have for this. So I'm keen to see what will happen. So this is where I am with my prep currently, guys. So I'm really excited to see what the next week holds. Looking forward to getting back out to France. I'm very much looking forward to testing myself at the Adapter Tour. If you're also going to be there, let me know, because I know there's 16,000 people on that start line. And if you are one of those people, then I also wish you the very best of luck. I'm going to hopefully get another couple of videos out this week while we get down to France. So I'll do my best to find some Wi-Fi for you. Also, I have a new mic, the DJI Mic Mini, which I'm going to be taking on this trip as well. Still getting used to some of the audio levels and sound and tweaking, but a little update to share with you. So thanks for making it this far in the video. Make sure to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.